This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, this is Misery Loves Company, a weekly social reading series hosted by miserytourism.com. Every Friday, we welcome outsider and transgressive writers to come and share their work with us. And hell, it's Friday again, and it's almost Halloween, so let's see what the hell people have for us. Gigi is up first.
Hey, howdy. I have an old story about Cupid that sucks. Okay, I'm gonna read it. Wait, let me put a link in the fucking thingy here. If you want to follow along, there it is. Okay.
Gigi,
This
sorry
one's
to
called.
interrupt, but you need to change your sharing settings on the document.
Shiva. Okay. One
Yep.
second. Anyone with the link can view. All right, now it should be all good. All right. This is called Cupid's Quiver. The ticket stand at Disneyland has changed a bit since its inception. A handicap entrance has been added. The ticket sellers are no longer teenage white girls, and people wearing exercise clothes are now waved through. They are allowed into the park. Cupid observes with the air of a relaxed house cat, slowly blinking and yawning. Another family enters, and the line goers trudge forward a few more steps, suffering in the Southern Californian summer heat and humidity, which melts everyone into a sticky melange of overpaying and gently pissed off. At the opening of the park in 1955, Cupid felt cynical. The monumentally popular sincerity of Walt Disney's creations made him question the authenticity of his own mythological status. The idea of true love, which had so permeated the culture over the past few decades, undercut the artificial love or even simple lust, which Cupid had been able to so mischievously introduce into people's minds and hearts for centuries. Things in general had been interesting when communication was restricted to face-to-face dialogues and letters which took days or weeks, months to deliver. But as people moved to cities and learned how to relay messages more quickly, it became harder for Cupid to create love triangles and adulterous affairs that ended in romantic suffering and bloodshed. He has not been back since that opening day, having spent the past half century or so filling his one-bedroom Los Angeles apartment with empty plastic 1.75-liter black velvet whiskey bottles and the ends of mid-grade joints and cigarettes, and other shitty bottom-shelf pints. Pills, cocaine, and various other substances and liquor bottles are mixed in there too, but without enough regularity to mean anything. There was a time when Cupid had friends, when he could wander down to any number of music or dance clubs, meet his cronies, and use his demigod powers like a party trick. They would laugh raucously as the most physically attractive person at the bar nervously stuttered their way to a denial from the ugliest. Better luck next time, Ace, one of Cupid's friends would say, laughing at a slump-shouldered victim. Little thought would be given to that individual or any of the lives he had reduced to a love-starved heap over the years. A commotion at the front of the line near the ticket seller snaps Cupid out of his memory. Several people hold phones to record a pregnant woman yelling at a pimple-faced Disneyland employee. I'm sorry, ma'am, but this is the policy. I wish there was something I could do, but you either have to pay for your child's ticket or it can't come in. I don't even know the kid's gender yet. What are you talking about? It's been like this since I've been here, ma'am. The employee thought about his training as he stared at the pregnant woman's belly. I can offer you a special one-time discount, but you still have to pay. What is it? Says the woman. I can take 1% off for each child with you today, says the Disneyland employee. So that comes to 2% off. The mother spits on the plexiglass separating her from the ticket seller. Ma'am, you have to buy another ticket or I can't let you in. The man in the front of Cupid brandishes his phone camera. Hey, lady, you're holding up the line. The pregnant woman turns her head. You mind your fucking business, she replies, looking in her baby's diaper bag. Hey, there are kids around, the man says. Watch your language. The pregnant woman picks up the stroller with postnatal child inside she had been pushing through the line and walks it toward the man who seemed so concerned with profanity. She slams the stroller down on the pavement, waking up the child within. Members of the line shuffle forward. She has lost her space. What's your fucking problem, fat ass? She says to the man. What are you, the fucking word police or some shit? I can talk any fucking way I fucking want. She pokes him in the belly. Disneyland security guards positioned near the entrance speak a few words while touching wireless earbuds. They walk towards her. The child in the stroller is crying. Well, good job, Fatty. Look what you did. Don't you have something to say, huh? Big man, Fatty, telling a pregnant woman what to do? Today was supposed to be a good day for my kid. Thanks a lot, you fat fuck. The poke man backs up, in that moment deciding that the Tinder date he was planning to meet inside the park is not worth it. Love is not going to be found here. He turns and walks away as the woman loudly questions his sexuality. She looks down at Cupid. He looks at her. The security guards are close. Fuck is your problem, midget? I bet they don't even make you buy a ticket, you fucking midget faggot. She stops to breathe, having tired her pregnant body with the adrenaline, the exertion, her shouting. The security guards grab her by the elbows and ask if she's going to leave quietly. Get off of me, you fucking faggot, she replies, spitting, flailing. She and her child are taken through a gate beside the ticket offices to a location within Disneyland not known to the public. Cupid smiles. He smiles at his hangover. He smiles at Disneyland. He walks away and lights a cigarette, takes out his phone, looks up the nearest AA meeting, knowing that the park couldn't possibly provide any greater entertainment. After another cigarette outside the church where the AA meeting is being held, Cupid pours himself a cup of complimentary black coffee and settles into an empty chair. For whatever reason, this particular group has decided against the usual podium in front of folding chair setup and instead arranges all the chairs in a circle. Instead of just creating a Knights of the Round Table sort of setting, the members of the group use this as an opportunity to capitalize on the room's uneven lighting. The more talkative members settle into seats where flattering soft hues give an air of holiness and sensitivity to anything they say, while the shyer members of the group prefer the old, malfunctioning dim lights and the weird hope that they could somehow never be seen, and just silently observe meetings in the dark, like plants, like flowers. The chairperson introduces themselves, says they're an alcoholic, and the introductions begin. New members and one out-of-towner on a business trip say their names and how long they've been sober for. They pass around the Alcoholics Anonymous book and take turns reading. Then it is time for sharing. Hello, I'm Peter, and I'm an alcoholic, says the man from out of town, who volunteers to speak first. Hello, Peter, replies the group in unison. I guess what I want to talk about today is boredom. I feel like I need something to care about, something to worry about. When all my ducks are in a row and everything is going well, that's when I feel the strongest impulse to drink. I don't have any sort of trauma or anything I'm escaping from. I just can't think of a reason to not be drunk when I'm alone. I don't have a sex drive, never had. I never wanted kids. I just want to feel happy or okay or something. But I don't think I can unless I'm working to solve some sort of problem or so drunk I'm happy with how my piss warms my legs in a hotel bed. Then, after, I can wake up and solve the problems that drinking has caused. Otherwise, I just enjoy conflict. I don't know. Peter stops for a second to cough and clear his throat. He takes a deep breath. He exhales. I mean, like, I don't see a point in stopping drinking other than to prove to myself that I can. I have no family to worry about or who will worry about me. My friends are just people I work with, and I only know them casually. I desire no greater connection with them. They're all so fucking boring. They enjoy discussing changes in popular logos or whether or not a song will make teenagers want to fuck more. Or less. They seem fucking retarded. I don't know. I guess the proper realization here is that I should see a shrink, and I have. But, being told that taking a pill in order to feel okay with living in the exact same society that makes you feel so fucked and bored that you need to take a pill to stomach it somehow doesn't work for me. I don't know. It really hammered home that I don't belong here. Sometimes I just want to die to escape this shit, to escape the world turning. He pauses again, this time for a slow sip of hot coffee. I've been sober for 11 days, but this trip is testing me. My sponsor isn't picking up my calls, and I don't even get to be familiar with my surroundings because of my schedule. I go from hotel to hotel, meeting to meeting. My life right now is just meetings, business and here. And I guess that's where it's going to stay for the time being. I just feel fucked. I don't know. I find it hard to find a place to feel like myself. I guess that's what I wanted to say, really. Thank you for listening. The members clap, and the chairperson thanks him for sharing. People nod. Cupid puts his hand up and volunteers to speak next. Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm an alcoholic, he says. Hi, Chris, the group replies. I've been sober for what? He glances toward the clock. 17 hours now? Some people in the group nod, a few smile. The chairperson gives Cupid a look for his jocular tone. Sorry, I'm serious, though. I figured the last time I came here after a bender would be my last, but here I am again. I guess I just wanted to say that, yeah, I do agree with what Peter said. I think I'm in a similar boat, if not the exact same one, Like, all I do on Earth is just look at people and feel bored or bothered by them. He sees Peter sip coffee and nod slowly while looking at the floor in front of him. Like, today, I saw these people almost get into a fight because of some shit caused by the ticket taker at Disneyland. One even taunted me, and I almost taunted back just to have something to worry about, Like what Peter said. I mean, I know I would have gotten my ass handed to me despite my imposing physical stature. He pauses while some people laugh. But I almost wanted her to hit me, Just strike me right there in the Disneyland ticket line. Make me taste my own blood. He pushes air out of his nose. This shit is not good. Cupid sips his coffee. He looks at the people listening to him. I guess my point here is that you aren't alone, Peter, or anyone here like us. There are plenty of motherfuckers who shouldn't still be here. He looks around the room, then at the floor again. I should have been dead at birth or some shit, but instead got saved by magic or something else. I don't know. I know what you mean about feeling bored. I've had my handful of suicide attempts, which have all been thwarted. I guess some of us are just destined to observe and be miserable instead of dying or getting drunk. Fuck, I don't know. Cupid stares at the floor. He laughs a little. With lives like this, it's no wonder we're alcoholics, he says, hoping to bring some levity into his moment of sharing. His sharing is met with coughs and the avoidance of eye contact. That's all I got. Thanks for listening to me. A woman named Cindy introduces herself and begins telling of how she was forced to drink as a child, how the innumerable atrocities she had to take part in throughout her early life led her here. The group leans in, finally happy that a speaker has problems they can chime in to help with. Cupid ignores her, instead staring at Peter, sensing something within him. The sort of resigned, observer-like existence Cupid has resigned himself to. He wants to help Peter. He stares, trying to read the lines on Peter's face, wondering why a man who was so attractive felt so... something. Peter looks back, flustering Cupid momentarily, making him look down. Cupid spends the rest of the meeting still looking down, shifting his attention to his shoes, wondering when they will start to grow holes and get thrown away and have to be replaced by a new pair. He remembers the days when it was okay for him to be barefoot, when it was okay for him to fly around, but times have changed. People have changed. People tend to not respect what you say if you don't have shoes on, and flying now would draw a crowd. There was a time when Cupid knew the exact location of his bow within his dwelling, but when it was not buried under a pile of empty bottles, when drinking was something only done in celebration of Bacchus and other revel-loving gods, when drunkenness was something he only observed with a bemused smile. He remembers when his ability to make others fall in love was more than just a way to demonstrate that he was, in fact, the most powerful god. He remembers when he used to enjoy his existence. Cupid taps his shoes on the ground, not noticing how the noise bothers the other AA meeting goers. Time passes. They all stand, hold hands, and recite the Serenity Prayer. Cupid walks outside without acknowledging anyone else and lights a cigarette. He looks at the setting sun. It is nearly properly dark, and Cupid wants to wait until he has at least 24 hours of sobriety before he starts drinking again. Then he can feel accomplished. No reason to not be prepared, though. Cupid walks from the church to the nearest liquor store and buys himself a pint of something cheap. He stands outside the store, bottle and paper bag, and thinks briefly about walking into traffic. He smirks, imagining the gasping faces of people who would bear witness to a small, curly-haired man getting hit by a car and walking away unscathed. He remembers his immortality for a moment as though he'd forgotten it, and a small, gnawing feeling appears within his ribcage. But it is not despair. No, he has known that too well. It's something else, something smaller, something almost silly. Cupid smiles cherubically for the first time in 70 years. He coughs, spits on the road, nods at a passerby, then uses an app on his phone to get a ride from the liquor store to his apartment. Inside his apartment, Cupid kicks aside empty bottles in an attempt to find his bow and quiver. The arrows did not matter so much. The god who had created the weapons made sure the quiver would never empty. Several minutes pass. He sips from his pint, having decided he can feel accomplished in a way that does not involve abstaining from alcohol. The apartment is searched through and through. Cupid finishes his bottle. He finds the bow inside the quiver, which is lodged in the water tank of his toilet. Must have been put there for safekeeping or something. Ugh. Cupid does his best to remember why he put the bow there, why had he decided to hide his tools in such a disgusting place. But no matter how he racked his brain, the years of alcohol and mild drug use had removed any ability to remember how things were, at least back when he felt fulfilled or something. He seems to remember finding joy in making people fight each other or stop fighting or something about love, whatever. His purpose is different now. Peter can be helped. He hangs out near the church, knowing that someone like Peter goes to meetings multiple times a day. It was, after all, the AA way, replacing drinking with sitting around and swapping stories about how good life is now and how shitty it used to be. Peter does not show up for Alcoholics Anonymous at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. He must be getting held up by his business meetings. And just before 8, Cupid looks up from the game he was playing on his phone to see Peter walk into the meeting area of the church. Cupid smiles. After an hour passes, Cupid watches Peter leave the meeting. He follows, keeping his distance, while Peter walks from the church to the hotel his company has paid for. Cupid notes the name of the hotel, which window Peter looks out of, and returns to his own apartment. He's back outside the hotel a few hours later when the city is a bit quieter. Most of the hotel's windows are dark, but Peter's is not. Bow in hand and quiver on his back, Cupid lets his little wings unfurl for the first time in years and ascends until he can look into Peter's room. His shoes are off. He's delighted to see that Peter may not have been telling the whole truth in the meeting. Peter's on his laptop looking at pictures of a woman. Cupid assumes that Peter's ostensible lack of hope, despite what was said at the meeting, is due to his lack of romance. Peter must be looking at a dating website. He assumes that if he's able to make Peter feel something for this woman, and he's able to make this woman reciprocate her feelings for Peter, he will be happy. Cupid knows that he's at this window at this exact moment, while Peter is looking at this woman he is to love forever because of fate. This is no chance occurrence. Cupid knocks a magic arrow to his bowstring and takes aim. He can make Peter love her. He smiles cherubically, like Cupid. Peter clicks a button on his laptop, and the pictures of the woman on the screen change to a video of her engaging in loud, violent sex. He unzips his pants. The arrow hits him in the neck. Cupid celebrates for a moment, then he sees. Cupid screams, "Fuck!" loud enough to startle Peter. He flies away, letting the bow and quiver drop into the warm LA night. That's all I got.
That was great, Gigi. I love how despairing this story is. Like, yeah, it's got a few like legitimately laugh out loud funny moments, but this is such a bleak and miserable and depressing story, and I fucking love it. I love it because the temptation with a story like this, with like that element of like, like magic realism or whatever, all the stories about like here's a mythological character or a character from folklore or something who's forced into the real world. Usually it's like, they lose their magic in some way and they get disenchanted and then they regain it. And you set us up to expect that, and then you pull the rug out from under us in a wonderful way. And it is just so like wonderfully, relentlessly bleak. And throughout, and your Cupid is such a fucking dickhead. It's so good, it's so glorious. And I love even the opening fight with the pregnant lady at the beginning. That is just about the nastiest version of that fight. Every time you think that fight is gonna like cool down, it gets nastier and nastier, and her language gets uglier and uglier. And I it's just really good stuff, Gigi. It's very funny and it's very dark and it's good shit. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I gotta head out and go to my aunt's house, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Hope
Loved
life's
all
treating
of
you
you.
well over there.
Bye-bye.
See ya. And so Mark is up next.
Okay. Mark is here. Can everyone hear me all right?
Perfectly.
Good. The theme is kind of spooky stuff and sort of Halloween related. And I'm going to read 6 poems. They're mostly short. And these are from a book of poems I recently published with Southernmost Books. The title of the book is Stills. And the first poem is Course of Desire. In the silent worship of another's body that follows an encounter best described as by proxy, the bouncer's lonely calls drift up like smoke through the floorboards. Walking up the stairs outside the bar, in the dark between open riser plywood steps, I made out eyes reflecting light. When she opens her mouth as if to speak, dread rips through me like lightning through a thunderhead. At the end of her pale, willowy leg, a gold and silver embroidered house slipper gleams. The next poem is Caravan, and this poem is in 3 parts. 1, supplicate. Don't believe in the myth of the wise old woman confined to a wheelchair and taking the air at the end of a pier, who will draw you up out of this silence that's all you can hear to a surface above you can only imagine like bait deep in the water, and quilt you in the geometric pattern spread out upon her lap. Somewhere beyond this darkness you believe is light. There is light, and you are here at the pre-dawn center, waiting for day to ascend, panoramic urban skyline, circumscribed like the view from the bottom of an abandoned well. The space you're in shudders, and you see its surface at last. 2. Travelers dream about the peasants. I wake up and see my wife sanding her elbow at the opposite end of our berth. Dreamily, she announces to nobody in particular, it's a callus, and sighs, making a sound like the brakes that exhale on a semi. Every day we wake up in a different carriage. We're like a blossom on a branch. No, we're like an amber bar of soap. She crumples the oval. Before she scuffs away, I hear her say, Jacquard. A zebu mounted on a hill in the distance. The electric shaver buzzing like an angry insect. Our compartment spins out, but the train hasn't moved. 3. The holding tank. Sitting hunched in the kitchen chair, thick, wet braid of straw yellow hair, woven tighter than wick for a hurricane lamp, tapered to a dagger point, like an artist's brush, bristles dipped in paint on the narrow V of your collarbones. Don't ask me who you are. If you want to know, ask yourself what you were doing there. You forgot what to do when what was the case, and unfit to make contact came to where we were certain to find you, not letting you dry off or even change your clothes that are wet. I start with the questions. This hall, the door, the bed and bedside table, chair and chest of drawers, the physical dimensions of the room. You can't help but know there's a reason why you feel small. That reason has been here. That reason is out there. The figurehead has a separate itinerary. Carved in the sweep of a crescent facade, a statue niche curves around and scallops overhead, empty save for shadow no one walking past can see in. To see my white bell-bottoms, wife beater, stained with grass, dried manure, after spending the night in the pasture outside the city wall. Alcoves filled with statues reeled away, too numerous to count, as I dashed across a deserted court in the languid spaghettified moment that comes with a surge of adrenaline, stretched to the point of translucent and arced like a fishing line cast from a boat, or a blemish or mote when it nears the edge of a convex lens. A sea breeze was blowing. I left my coat of pilot cloth on board. The captain at his sewing frame, even weave cut from bolt, embroidered with the compass and the square, a different Sanskrit character for every member of the crew. Will he tear out the same mysterious letter, an able seaman tattooed on my back? From other cavities, pale faces gaze, not like saints whose eyes are filled with peace and love, nor like leaders of men from under strong projecting brows, their foreheads high and broad, as resolute as ramparts, but in horror at some distant thing no one else can see, that corresponds to viscera inside, stone figures that echo dreadful secret knowledge it's useless to deny. Wind blusters, blows seaward, my windbreaker flapping. I'm colder than I think I am. The solution. Both Troy and I believed the developers' claim that robust asymmetric encryption would counter my lack of decisiveness, which had long bedeviled us. But Troy starts using the system to eavesdrop, listening in to our own conversations, listening by himself, later in private. What Troy and I now say to each other with the words we carefully choose and the silence between our words, Troy's listening. Maybe he's listening now. Maybe he's listening later. On my way to meet Troy, I wonder if I'm trying to make him believe in the same trust we lost. No need to prove anything, least of all to Troy, not when it comes to selling him the trust we lost on the way here to meet for the first time. After all, he was never there. Pushed away by his wife like she's driving a stake through his heart, a man in the corner office of the business he built from scratch asks her, "What's the deal with this anti-touch thing with you?" Patting his sternum, she gives him a look like he shouldn't have said that and leaves. Each appointment shorter than the one before. There's so little time, he thinks, as he crosses legs and swivels his high wingback chair. With the tip of his brogue, pushes closed a panel desk drawer, listening to the sound of its slide, heavy and sluggish with folders, yet smooth without friction on ball-bearing filled rollers. Sun through metal blinds emerging sharp and afternoonish. He hears someone say, "I guess it wasn't me all those years ago," or yesterday even. He corrects invoices long into that first night. The last poem is Brescia Lens, or Moonlight feathers the nest of a woman with her throat cut. Broken off above the blackened rim, my ribs white as teeth. Arranged in a halo about my head, men stood and with hands and arms gestured in different directions. It's so polished and smooth, I thought, beholding my cauterized, scraped out chest cavity, stars shining down from beyond the colonial house frame. Thank you.
Mark, those were wonderful. First of all, thank you, because I gave you a challenge this week. You said you wanted to read, and I was like, "Hey, if you have any like spooky poems, Halloween is coming up, and we're going to try to do some Halloween themed readings." And you definitely delivered. And I really dig your choice of poems here, because the the spookiness here comes so much from this kind of pervasive dark atmosphere. You do a great job of like finding of crafting these images that are like subtly terrifying, that are subtly subtly disconcerting, that really like get under your skin and really like get at this kind of like existential horror that we experience in kind of day-to-day life, that we experience when we see something small that unsettles us. I love that the I'm colder than I think I am, or I'm colder than I realize line at the end of that one poem, because that's the perfect culmination of a poem that's so much about this like existential realization, this like dark existential realization, this kind of irrational horror at at the past, you know, and I don't, it's just a really great set of, as I said, subtly spooky poems that are very much in season. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad they connected, with some of that atmospheric dread. I'm glad
That's the
that
perfect way to
came
put it.
across.
Yeah.
Dread is definitely a good way to put it. That I'm colder than I think I am line. Again, me and Will went off with that one at about the same time. That's such a really good like encapsulation of like that the atmosphere and like the I guess the greater brooding type of nature of these is really pretty sick. It's awesome. Love that shit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It was great poems. And Rudy, you might as well stay unmuted because you are up next with also some Halloween poetry, I believe.
Yeah, mine
Some
is some of
Halloween
my
adjacent poetry.
Halloween adjacent. That's all right. Can you hear me still from here? Or?
Perfectly.
Excellent. Just make the post here. Yeah, so I think I put the link in there. Or I have the link in the document, but either way, these are some Halloween theme poems. First one is called Zugzwang, which is chess terminology, because I love chess, I guess, or hate it. I'm not really sure which one. Zugzwang. Gigi Allen said he would kill himself on stage for the Halloween of 1989, but instead he went to jail. Every subsequent year that he repeated his suicide threat, he was in jail. So I guess if you're for prison abolition, you're for suicide. Checkmate. I'm not for prison abolition or affirmative action, but I'd love to have cops kill me after economic disparities, some may be racial, force me to go on a spree shooting with what gun? Reflex mate. Bam. That shit I said about economic disparities is bullshit. My problems come from me, helpmate. I just masturbated to Dolly renditions of women gardening, self-mate. I have never fucked anyone else, just myself, intimate. I get viscerally angry and start gesturing when talking about how gay the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion is. Animate. Wish I had lived in a time where painting Daikami on a bomb gave your life meaning. Dichromate. When I go to jail, the other person in my cell will probably rape me, then take me as a prison wife. Consummate. I bet Maynard James Keenan, who sang a song called Prison Sex, would be a beast in jail. Legitimate. Measure once, cut twice. I should have said that in Genji's voice, but guesstimate. Can't wait till Chat GPT-3 takes poetry and all forms of creative self-harm out of my warm, live hands. Automate. And this one, Lord, I apologize for that. But this one I have to actually put a costume on for. So I'm going to start my video up in just a second here. If I can find the shit for it. Oops. Let me see here. Oh, here it is. Show avatar. I gotta get my background on here too. So I do have a virtual background on it. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now I have my costume on. I'm gonna read a poem called appropriately or inappropriately, I guess, The Nightmare Before Hanukkah. This poem uses a naughty word that I'm not allowed to say. That's not really an apology, it's just a fact. For Halloween this year, I'm going as a man from the North Country who gives a shit about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. To make my costume, I'll need knowledge of the region. So I'll get on Wikipedia. I'll also need some blood, which I'll take from the Band-Aid they give me at the blood donation bank, where I'll go for some reason to donate plasma to the people dying over there on both sides. And that Band-Aid will be part of my costume too. My cosplay empathy is a solution for the conflict. I also kind of want to be Doom Guy though. So maybe I can merge the two costumes together. Doom Guy is a voiceless protagonist, and so too are the many slaughtered Palestinians voiceless still. The 6-year-old kid got killed in his fucking house, and I'm about to lose it. How was that? Oh wait, I'm a voiceless Doom Marine. Oops. Maybe I'll just mash 6 on the keyboard. 6 is the key for the plasma cannon, so I can donate plasma to Melting Faces. 666. Plasma is like gas and liquid having a baby. That might be a two-state solution. Man, this world is going south. Maybe I can invoke the global south with my costume for some reason. Some unlucky guy in New York is going south to like Kentucky to fuck on a 16-year-old, would invoke the federal age of majority laws. That's a two-state problem. Angry state troopers pull over his van, read him the riot act for fucking up their community. In this town we call home. In the Tim Burton movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas, undead gangsters kidnap Santa Claus, like Hamas freedom/fighters kidnap several Israeli citizens/soldiers. A musical number about planning an abduction preceded the fictional deed. In this world, the music came first, then the kidnapping. Dudes in Fortnite gliders dropping in to whisk hostages away. Oh my. I wonder how many of those strange holiday rooms there are in in the Nightmare universe. Is there an Ide room? A deprecated Columbus Day room where Spanish frigates rain cannonballs and cannolis on the Indigenous Peoples Day room? Is there a World Suicide Prevention Day room where happy-go-lucky residents tell people to get therapy? There must be a September 11th room. Come on. Weird tangent, I know. Maybe I'll just dress up my SOCMED accounts, put the Israeli flag and the Palestinian flag in my name, also the Christmas Island flag, because goat CX, you can have your kike and eat it too. Everybody scream. Everybody scream. And that's it.
My God. Does someone else want to tackle this one?
I apologize for saying a slur. I don't know.
Oh my God. Holy shit, man. Holy shit.
I'm sorry.
Just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Don't die. Oh fuck. Yeah.
Oh my God, man. That was, first of all, excuse me, you're gonna fucking kill me, first of all, those were hilarious. Those were fucking, they were so funny. I am in absolute fucking awe of like your wordplay and I guess your like concept play or your like reference play in both of these poems. I love in the first one the way the text, the chess terminology degrades to just like, an assortment of puns, basically, and just wordplay on the word mate. That is really good. I love the connection between those various mates and the accompanying lines. There's you get a lot of you get so much mileage out of that one joke. I have no idea how you managed to get the sheer amount of mileage out of that one gag that you did, but it's truly remarkable stuff, man.
Nice.
I I I think my favorite is the move from self-made to intimate to animate. Um, just because I love how because that's really where it like totally breaks down and it's just you go from I also love the way that poem becomes increasingly like TMI throughout too. Like you're like, oh, this can't possibly get any more like embarrassing, right? This can't possibly get any more uncomfortable in the way that it's like revealing information, and it just keeps going and keeps going in a way that just gets funnier and funnier. And then the really vicious jab at like the creative process at all at the end, and the way that it ends with automate is great. But oh my God, though. The Nightmare Before Hanukkah is a fucking odyssey. I I think one of my favorite things about this poem is is how unstructured it is, if that makes any sense. Like there's a real like fuck it quality to the last third of this. Which is a little unusual for your writing, because even though um there's often a like stream of consciousness vibe to your writing, there's also often like a fairly clear like structure, right? Like but this one, there's an amazing detour when you go off on the like there must be on the like Nightmare Before Christmas conceit, and how there must be all of these, like there was like a Thanksgiving room door
Yeah.
there, like an Easter
Thanksgiving,
door.
Easter.
So
Yeah, I think there was a
and
Hanukkah room there too. He didn't go in it, but I think there
I
was.
there was a
I
fucking
think.
St. Patrick's Day door in there.
Yep.
So if they've got
Yep.
fucking St. Patrick's Day, why wouldn't they have 9/11, right?
Why not?
Why wouldn't they have Indigenous Peoples Day? And I love the way you play with that concept. And man, though, the everybody scream, that is the perfect way to end that poem, because it gets it like works on at least three different levels, because obviously it works as a direct reference to the movie. And obviously it also works as a direct reference to the the like horror of the conflict, right? The fact that like there's
Yeah.
a really grisly war going on in the Middle East between two states where a lot of people are being brutally killed. And the social media angle, right? Everybody's gonna get on, and as you say, like cosplay and scream at each other about this thing that in many cases they only like vaguely understand. And then I think it works on a fourth level, because by that point, like if you're reading this, you're screaming to yourself, like you're screaming. I was screaming in laughter anyway by the end. But no, man, I love these are so good. These are, I think, as weird as it is to say, given the subject matter, especially the second one, I think these are two of the funniest poems that you've written in fucking months. Anyway, great stuff, man.
Thanks for letting me read it. Lord, I apologize.
Lord, I apologize. Oh shit. Excuse me. Colton's up next.
Oh god. All right. Thank you. Yeah, dude, Rudy, you fucking killed that shit, dude. Like, I don't know how you do it, man. I get nervous to like barely even try to like do weird shit in my writing, and then you just come out with like the avatar with the background with the writing, dude. Another fucking level. Well, I have a little candle to make this piece appear kind of spooky, but it's, I don't know. This piece I think is I just like pure marijuana. I don't know, and like the writing group in my city in Memphis, we're like not meeting anymore, and so it kind of felt weird, like kind of like when Misery Tourism died, but not really. So like I don't know. I was just like writing to write, just day by day stuff. So it's just a weird little stitched together thing. But William, is the link working?
Yes, it is working
Okay.
perfectly.
Thank you, William. All right,
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and get started. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. This is Being God's Personal Disco Ball. Ushered to your cushion, lap buttered up and down, coaster soda bubbling, tummy rumbling, lights dim and the previews start. Alpine isomatic machine, Bain Marie filled with scalding water, letting your friends and family kill innocent civilians for funsies. General butt naked in his journey towards self-improvement. Call me old school, but I say we keep people in check, not under a boot. Scratched up Radiohead CD, focusing while listening to ELO, requesting time off for some quality boom shakalaka boom time. It's a she, right? Hey, who took my pimp cup? Little boy holding a sack of bread, happily skipping towards a small pond filled with ducklings of all shapes and sizes. Duck 1. Oh, brother, not this asshole again. Duck 2. God, I hate this kid so much. Duck 3. What should we do, fellas? Duck 1. His mom is pretty far away. I say we ambush the kid. Duck 2. Yeah, let's steal his bread too. Duck 3. Y'all need me to shit on him? Duck 1 and 2. Absolutely. Going to Blockbuster to rent Orgasmo so you can watch it at James' place later. Covering your pointer finger with spit and sticking it up into the air. We both went through our sex-based title fights and drank heavy and foggy bottom that night. I talked about what I was going to do, how I'm glad my situation wasn't like that Yale guy. You were too drunk to listen, but you looked at me like you'd seen a ghost. I don't remember your name or the names of the others. It was all just rapid decline, coming off the seams, spotlighted fear. Outside of the bar, I did remember a little girl on the sidewalk. She blew bubbles that quickly flew into a wall and popped. Pioneer, Gottlieb, 1976. Send ball into play using first long blue line down. Nudge ball bouncing on rubbers above inlane drops. Dig hard as fuck if ball is sent towards center drain. Morgan Rita lives in Memphis but will probably die in Arkansas. Why are those trees not changing their leaves to fall colors? Because those trees take a little longer to get their colors to change. Why don't they just change their colors faster? I don't know, because God made it that way. Shut up, dumbass. Feeling fate watching the sunrise. I set charges behind my vitals and gave out detonation buttons to the people that I love more than life. Background hauntology. Sorry. Gotta take my little smoke break. All right. Background hauntology. Memories of res publica. Traces of unshared spaces. Quiet morning breakfast. Going home early after school. Inputting code 007-373-5963. Prairie farms and white cheddar shells. Gored and bored. Love no more. Feed desire and regret slices of banana and mortadella. I only let people inject needles into my arm if I get animal crackers afterwards. That's why I like giving blood. They always make sure you get your animal crackers so you can get your blood sugar up. If I don't get my Amcracks, I get real upset and cranky. I think that's why I've never done heroin. You never see those folks eating animal crackers after they shoot up that stuff. I hope the person who gets my organs when I die feels the same weird tendencies that I feel. And I hope the blood that I donate goes to a person who experiences the same depression that I do. I hope they also like to eat the lion and elephant crackers like I do. Nobody home? Porn on the Bluetooth speaker. Full disclosure, my nature is non-disclosure. Agreed? That's it.
That was awesome, Colton. First of all, what are the odds of two people in a row reading poems about blood donation? That seems
I was just
statistically
fucking thinking that.
improbable. Yeah, it's funny
Crazy.
because so often, like, there's this weird, like, psychic vibe thing going on at Misery Loves Company, especially when people read pieces that were written in the same week. Like, so often there's just these weird synergies and shit, and I always love to point them out when I see them because I don't know, because it's just fun.
Dude,
Th-
I'm not
th-
gonna lie, I wrote that like either today or last night because I was making. So I went to fucking. I went to like I went to Cookout to go get a meal, and there was just this random homeless dude that kept bothering me, and there were people in the line getting out of their cars doing weird shit. So I left. Went to Walgreens, and they were closed for waxing, so I couldn't get my pizza. So I had to fucking go to CVS, go get fucking animal crackers and like fucking mac and cheese and the white cheddar fucking mac and cheese. So yeah, and I was just like, well, and I think I saw some dude in the parking lot, and so I was like, this guy probably needs animal crackers. Anyway, sorry I cut you off, but yeah, it's crazy. Like I wrote that like today, and it
right.
just matched
No,
up with
it's
Rudy.
good. It's good. There's weird, I don't know, these weird synchronicities, and I always wonder about that. But anyway, um, no, this is good stuff, man. This is like, this piece has a very like gently melancholy vibe to it. Like this is a much more subdued piece than you usually read, and you execute it well. Like there's, I like. I love the stanza about the colors of the leaves, where you can tell like it sounds like a kid talking to their parent or something, and it feels like it's setting up for like some cute like cute little moral or something, like a cute little like bit of folklore or whatever, like parent to child, like, oh, that's because, but instead it's just like, I don't know, that's what God did. Shut up, retard. And it's such a good like punchline because it undercuts that vibe so effectively. But then there are like pieces here that are legitimately really mournful and atmospheric. I love the stands about coming home early after school and including the like dark code. The existence of that dark code communicates so much, right? And the oh my gosh, and just the like the food again, the food in your fucking shit, the food in your writing. I love the way I've said this so many times, but I love the way you use food in your writing. And because it's never the same, it's not like you have one trick, right? Like, oh, if food shows up in Colton's writing, it's always going to be like about nostalgia. Or oh, if food shows up in Colton's writing, it's always going to be like a metaphor for this or a metaphor for that. No, like the like tonal resonance of how you use food shifts rapidly from poem to poem. Like in this case, it actually is used like as this like nostalgia trigger, right? But other times, like you use food in ways that's like deeply gross and disgusting, and then you'll have like food used in a way that's like incredibly appetizing, and it's fascinating to me. I don't know that, but this is, yeah, like I said, this is a kind of remarkably solemn and gentle and mournful piece from you, and I really dig it.
I appreciate that, William. I wanted to point out, so that code, that's a code for Mike Tyson's Punch Out, where like you input it and it takes you right to Mike Tyson. So I'm glad that came up
Okay.
as a door code because I was wondering how that would stand without people knowing that. And again, I didn't know this until like 2 fucking days ago where this guy wore it on his shirt. And the whole time I was like, that's phone number, like that's weird, I'm not, and he was like, no, it's Mike Tyson. And just like, I don't know, that's just so interesting where you can just like bypass an entire game and go and get
Yeah,
your
right
ass
to the
whooped
boss.
Tyson just over and over and over and over again. So
And that's kind of necessary in Punch Out, honestly, from what I've heard, because first of all, it's a really difficult fucking game, but there's an extreme difficulty spike when you encounter Tyson. And so
yeah,
to like have to slog through the entire fucking game and get really good at the game just to get clobbered, just to get killed by Mike Tyson like immediately, and then to play 20 minutes, a half an hour, like to go through the gauntlet again. Anyway, man, that's great. No, I had no idea that was the Mike Tyson code. But yeah, as I said, like, regardless of how you read that line, it fits perfectly within the like excuse me, after school nostalgia vibe of that stanza.
I like the title to the first poem a lot, being God's personal disco ball. Because it's like we have, use the cliche like we have light inside of us, but also, we're just we're entertainment for God. That's what I mean. To me, that's what it suggests. I really like that title a lot.
Yeah, I've the original title for this poem was gonna be the line, "Hey, who took my pimp cup?" Because I just think it's funny, like just some white dude at a party who's like, "Who took my fucking pimp cup?" Like. But I was like, I don't know if people are gonna get that, and so I was at the pinball bar, and there's just like a random disco ball there, and I was like, that's so random, but also it's kind of cool to have that there, just kind of in the corner, and I was like, I wonder what it's like, and then just thought about like God and like having a disco ball in like his office or like on his car or something, I was like, that's okay, that's cool, and I wonder what that's like, and like because with like recently writing about the sun and shit, because the sun is doing weird stuff now with fall. It's like bright as hell, and like the light that shines off a disco ball is like so unique and interesting, and it changes in every single room you go to, or whether it's inside, outside, whatever. And so it's like this unique like reaction of the disco ball. I kind of internalized as like, I don't know, like just like sin and shit. I don't fucking know. I think I'm just smoking over here.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I like the title. But that whole poem is excellent. And the Morgan Reed was born in fuck, I just blanked on it. But he would die in Arkansas. What's in Arkansas?
I don't know. In Arkansas is a place called Jasper, and I've written about it like so many times, but it's this spot that I've been to over and over and over. I've been there. I like took like an ex-girlfriend, and like I went there by myself one time, and it's just like this peaceful little spot. And every time I go there, I'm like, I will fucking die here. Like I don't care. Like if I'm in a home, like I'll break out. I will drive here. I'll shoot myself in the river. Like I'm gonna die here. It's just I don't know. It's one of those weird connections.
Well, it was weird, but yeah. No, dude, that's really cool. I love those poems. They're good shit.
Man, I appreciate you. Thank you, William and Rudy. These are
Yeah, thanks,
always
man.
great. I'm glad that I get Fridays off to be fucking weird and degenerate with y'all. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
y'all.
it's always a good time, man. Thank you. So, nobody else has signed up to read tonight, but we have some time if someone wants to. There's not a huge crowd left, but if somebody would like to read, yeah. Yep. Oh,
Yeah, I could
oh,
read.
it is Keko. Hey, man,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. Okay, just a moment.
Keko.
Hello. Uh,
Hey.
I have two very short poems. So I'll share the document in case you. I always know it was me. It's no, I mean I was here last. I mean, was the last time the time Rudy, you read that Syrian game poem? Was that the last time?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
I enjoyed it.
okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. So the slur, I didn't get the slur in the second poem.
Oh, it was
Uh,
kite, which is a slur for Jewish people.
yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Because yeah, okay. I'm a bit dumb, but never mind. So the first poem is withering. People learn many things over the years. When a guy is a kid and he finishes masturbating and wipes with toilet paper and his cock gets all sticky and downy, he becomes a guy who learns how not to leave toilet paper leftovers on his dick. If the paper happens to stick, you wash it off, unless you're depressed and you're retarded. And the second one is 100%, 100%er, 50% relaxed, 1% frustrated, 0% Gaddafi. People either exaggerate or minimize. If you say 1 to 3, of course, someone cool will say 2, but 39 or 62 will become 33 and 66, and then 25 and 75. If one's angry, it's 100. 1 if there's shame involved. 0 if a gun is pointed. 50-50 when everything's cool and very cool. The gentle breeze of time on our hands as we use our credit card. That's it.
Echo, those were great. First of all, welcome back, man. And I really, these are two really great examples of your poetry. I think I love the first one. I love the first one so much. That is a really deeply inconvenient situation, isn't it? No, I love how much mileage, in spite of the fact that it's a super concise poem, you really get a lot of mileage out of a very particular, very uncomfortable, and very humiliating situation in a way that's funny, but it's also like, I don't know, it has a certain mundane insight to it, right? Like there's something in that cycle. There's like something about like education in this brief poem, right? Like about the way we learn, like the way we actually learn shit in real life, which is by fucking up consistently in embarrassing ways and getting stuck in these kind of embarrassing, humiliating situations. And you get at that like reality in a very funny way, in a very concise and very direct way. And I really dig it. And without like an ounce of pretension, without an ounce of falseness. And I really dig the second poem too. I love the sheer number of ways like you play with your concept here. You play with numbers, the way that like you get at the ways that we like assign different significance and different meaning to different numbers, and the way that like that there's a language to numbers themselves, right? That they're not just like just like actual like spoken language. Numbers are like malleable. Numbers can have like metaphorical qualities. Numbers can have the same kind of like figurative qualities that language often has, as opposed to being like strictly analytical and having a single strict fixed meaning like we often imagine it. And I love the way that you get at like the rhetorical power of numbers in that poem. Anyway, either way, great shit, man, and I'm glad you're back.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, man. So I think we will end it there. I think we might have someone who's going to read after after we end the recording, but setting that aside, I think we'll close out there unless I think most of the people here have read anyway. So all right, I think we'll end it there. Thank you to everyone who read tonight. It was a fun night as usual. Lots of great work read. Lots of really enjoyable work read too. So yeah, thank you to everyone who read. This has been Misery Loves Company. We do this every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Anyone is welcome to come and join us. Anyone is welcome to come and share their work with us if they'd like. We tweet out the link just a few minutes before we begin from our Twitter account @MiseryTourism. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. I think we're going to end it there.